Hey, what's going on, y'all? Can we finally be honest about Mr. Sheduer Sanders?
Yep.
I appreciate him. I like Sheduer. I've been on record. I even remember my homeboy. I talking to him about when he was a freshman at Jackson State, and he threw maybe like a 50-yard pass touchdown, like was super accurate. Even then, I was like, this dude is about to be something. This guy is about, he gonna have a chance in the league. And so fast forward to a couple years, at Jackson State, I think they won the SWAC there 2 years in a row. Then went to Colorado. He balled out. He did his thing, right? And of course, the prime effect. Everybody, most of the people love, prime time Deion Sanders, his dad. And so, from the faith aspect to, his bravado, his swag, and everything else. But I just think, especially a lot of people in the media, athletes, people that he's had relationships with, that he's poured into, like, nobody can be honest about the Sheduer Sanders situation. And so, to a degree, I get it. If I had a real good personal relationship with somebody, what I mean, I would probably be biased too, to a degree, right? Or just don't say anything at all. But the bias that's going on in the media with him, I just think is crazy. Like, for all the hype that he got coming out of college, coming in, and this past week when they beat, no, not when they beat, that's kind of my point. They didn't beat Tennessee, but he had a great game. But all the talk about Sheduer, you would think that they beat the Titans, but they didn't beat the Titans. They lost to the Titans. But Sheduer had a really good game. I think he had 364 yards, 4 touchdowns. He threw 3, ran for 1. And so he had a real good game, right? But they lost the game. I think that's being lost in the whole thing. Like, I just don't think people are being honest about Sheduer and even being objective about it. I don't really like watching Emmanuel Acho as much, but I have been peeping at his pod or his platform, Speak Easy, and I think he's been pretty objective about Sheduer, right? Not just praising him all the time, but, giving some critiques and saying, they can do this and do that. Now, me personally, I've been on record as saying Sheduer should have been one of the top quarterbacks picked, right? First round, that's, I'm not even thinking about that, but at least by round 3, for sure, he should have been picked. Now, I've also been on record as saying that he didn't do himself any favors. Him or his dad and whoever else was on his team didn't do him any favors because they were, he was coming into the draft speaking, a little too cocky for his talent level. I'll put it that way. And, and truth be told, like, you going into the NFL, a lot of people we don't know that you've been challenged before. We don't know, because pretty much since you've been little to grade school, high school, you've been given a job. You've been given the opportunity to play quarterback, to get as many reps as you need or as you want. And so, and him, the way he acted at the combine, kind of with his hat backwards, not even the hat backwards really doesn't mean anything. It's more so what he was saying, how he was coming off, and that can rub some people the wrong way, because again, you're talking about a franchise quarterback, and also his whole jersey being retired at Colorado, it was just a bad look. Now, everybody, we get Travis Hunter. He was a once-in-a-lifetime type of two-way athlete, won the Heisman, did some things on both sides of the ball that hasn't been seen in decades, if ever. So we get him being retired. But then Sheduer is like, he was real good, but wasn't elite or great. And the fact that his jersey got retired before Cordell Stewart, that played back in the 90s at Colorado, is just a lot of people looking at it the same way. That's like, what? Why are we giving this to this person? Like, Cordell Stewart, if people are not familiar with him, he didn't win the Heisman, but he had some really great elite seasons. I think he did a thing they called the Miracle at Michigan, did the Hail Mary pass, and his team was 11-1, was in a national championship conversation, on multiple years, and so he had an overall better career at Colorado than Sheduer. But numbers wise, Sheduer broke some records and stuff there as well. But it's just like, it was just like too soon, I thought, right? And so with Sheduer, I think he's been playing good. I do think Stefanski doesn't, like him as much. I do think he wants to pour more into Dylan Gabriel, because that was more so his guy, his pick, But, and also, Sheduer has changed his tune as well. If you go back to the tape of him at the combine, like I said, with his hat turned to the cock to the side, talking about, this is just me. I'm gonna be a franchise quarterback. I'm gonna be da. Like it was a lot. Also added to that the rumors that were talking about him, how he was acting in certain team meetings and stuff like that. That's, depending who you talk to, say that was true or not. But you can kind of believe it just because how he was talking at the combine in front of the media and everything. It was not a good look. And if you look at how he was talking at the combine and to how he's talking now over this past month or so, it's totally different. That means he's a smart young man. That means that either he's listening or is being aware, or maybe his dad is even saying something about it. But Sheduer's tune has changed. He's not the same, hey, I'm just going to go out here. This is me. This is what I do. Like he's more like dialed back a little bit and just like, look, I'm taking it game by game, day by day, to see, how this going to go. So, again, I want us to be honest about Mr. Sheduer. I think he's going to get a chance somewhere. I'm not sure if that place is going to be Cleveland, but he should get a fair shot to be the quarterback somewhere, because as I've seen, oh boy, these computers acting silly. But as I've seen, Sheduer is going to be a good quarterback in the league. I always thought that. But let's dial it back a little bit, because he lost this past game. And so the ultimate team sport, I believe, is football. And I just saw everybody, I know his brother Bucky with Well Off Media, he takes makes content about him a lot as far as his preparation before game, during the game, after the game, and everything else. And so you would think that they actually won the game, but they lost. But Sheduer had a really great game, and so it's more so of what's the goal, because if we're being real, that's kind of what a lot of people are talking about. It's more about him and not about the team. Everybody talking about, oh, Sheduer did this. Sheduer had a great game. He had 360 plus yards. He had these touchdowns, which he did, but they lost the game. But all we're doing, what most people are doing, is focusing on what he did as an individual. And that's why a lot of teams didn't like Sheduer. Not because he wasn't a solid quarterback. He more than proved that in college. Like, he's good enough. But it's the other intangibles that go with it that will, rub a billionaire wrong way, to be like, okay, I want to put my franchise on his back, right? And so over the past month, Sheduer has been more so talking, more so like a team first guy, a franchise type guy, other than the stuff that was in the combine and for the draft. He didn't participate in the combine. He didn't do any of the senior bowls or activities, anything like that. So he just looked like he was too good or above it, right? And truth be told, he wasn't. He's not. He will never be his dad as far as the type of talent, like nobody would be like his dad. And so Sheduer was talking that talk like he is his dad. Like, he's coming from that stock, but he's not him. He's not his dad. He can be Sheduer Sanders as a QB, not primetime Deion Sanders as a CB. So I just want us to be more honest about Sheduer, man. and it's always one or the other. I think I saw TJ Uspenzada that was on Speak Easy with Acho, talk about, he was just being real about it. Like, he's biased about Sheduer because, he's been out of town, out of the country with Coach Prime and some of his friends, and he paid for all of them to go out, have a good time. And I think he was in Puerto Rico or something like that. So he was like, he ain't got nothing bad to say about the Sanders family because of the love that has been shown toward him. Cool. At least admit that. A lot of people are saying that they're being objective or being honest, and they're not. They're not being honest about Sheduer. Sheduer can be a good quarterback, but he makes mistakes just like regular rookies and stuff as well. And so the thing should be, did he win the game? Right? When you focus so much on the individual all the time, and that's what a lot of what they call prime sexuals, in regard to Sheduer, like, a lot of those people just take the individual into account, but then bring the team thing when it works into Sheduer's favor, right? Oh, you should not put him into that Ravens game like that. Oh, they're trying to sabotage him. Da 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 da. They lost the game because of the coach. Like, when it's advantageous for Sheduer on the team side, we'll use that. But if you have a good game and they lose as a team, we're going to focus on the individual. And I want the kid to succeed. I think he will succeed in the NFL. I don't think he's trash or anything like that. I think he has some improvements just like any other rookie quarterback. He probably takes too many sacks. He falls back in the pocket probably way too much instead of stepping up. Just little things that I see, from a naked eye. But not too many people are being honest about Sheduer, and I think that will more so hurt him than help him. Even with his dad, Coach Prime, like, according to him, what he puts out there, nothing that he said or did with his son has been wrong or miscalculated. But his whole draft process and how that was done and all that, it was quite a few miscalculations of, how they handled that. But nobody comes out to say anything. The people in the media always are covering for Sheduer and Coach Prime because of their personal relationship, and you see it. I think what's the platform? Coach JB, Smitty, on their platform. I think at least Coach JB is very honest about that whole situation with Sheduer and Coach Prime, and Jason Whitlock. Although I don't agree with all the stuff that he says about Sheduer and Coach Prime, I agree with most of it. You know what I'm saying? He coming at it from a spiritual aspect, also from on the field as well. So there's a few people out there that I think are being, objective and are telling the truth about him, and give him credit where credit is due when he, has a good game, right? But at the end of the day, the goal is to win. The numbers are the numbers, but what's his name that won the Super Bowl with the Ravens? The white guy with the bald head, the coach. He used to coach UAB, but he has a Super Bowl ring. His numbers were nothing at all. Were trash. However, he has a Super Bowl to his account because they won games, or he won the game, right? And so with Sheduer, he just needs to get to a point to where he wins. It's not about, he threw for 400 yards and did all this stuff and, kind of what he did in college. Like, they did some winning in Colorado, but, the big games where they played the top schools, the bowls and stuff like that, like, the numbers really don't matter. Like, did you win? Did you contribute to your team actually coming out with a W? And that's what should be the talk about, y'all. So what do y'all think, man? Beat it up in the comments. Let me know. Until next time, salute.